So they're a chaotic mess, right? They're a walking, talking disaster area. They're rogues, outcasts, and they have no business walking around trying to save the world. But why do we love them? From the constant bickering of the Guardians of the Galaxy to the grim-faced determination of the Lord of the Rings, our most beloved fantasy teams are less of a team and more of a dysfunctional nightmare. Take the Lord of the Rings, for example. You have a thief, you have a grumpy dwarf, an aloof elf, a bunch of hobbits running around that are pretty well fugitives, running from orcs and lich kings and every sort of manner that's wandering around Middle-earth waiting to kill them. A great big eye trying to slice off Frodo's finger and take that ring off of him. It's more of a 12-step program waiting to happen, and or a bar fight waiting to break out somewhere. This is less of a team, and they lack cohesion and the necessary skills to get it done. And they often most lack the basic social skills as well. So what's the deal then? What draws us to these stories? Why do we cheer for these glorious train wrecks? Why do we ache with their struggles and cheer their victories? What is it about these collections of broken people that just feel so right? The answer goes way deeper than just good entertainment. It taps into the very core of what we look into for stories, and just maybe what we're looking into is what's in our own lives. Today we're going to be getting into the psychological reasons of why we love the Misfit Crew so much, and what it actually says about our own search and belonging. We'll explore the comfort of the found family and why it feels so safe. We'll look at the pure satisfaction of watching their mismatched skills come together in chaotic competence. We'll also get into the timeless thrill of the underdog, that vicarious joy of watching the overlooked and underestimated rise up to save the day. This isn't just a fun trope, it's about understanding why that trope has such a death grip on our own imagination. Because the story of the Misfit Crew is, in many ways, our own story. A story of finding our people and building our own home, not from blood, but from a bond forged in fire. Now, before I go further in this video, you may hear my kids in the background. My daughter is currently singing something, and they're 5 and 3 years old. I am a father of 2, and girls are relatively loud. So let's be real. The reason why we love these Misfit Crews is because they embody what we believe to be a powerful yet deeply human idea of a found family. These are a bunch of unrelated people that get together through different circumstances, and they form a bond that is just as strong, if not stronger, than the traditional family. And this is a family of hope and not obligation. They're not obligated to each other at all. They can walk away anytime they want. But they stayed together out of a necessity of hope. And for a lot of people, this is more than just a cool idea. It brings hope for anyone that is the black sheep of the family, anyone that's the weird cousin, anyone that doesn't really fit into the mold as if it were. And this family shows a vision of belonging that isn't about genetics. It's about loyalty, trust, and unconditional support. Now, this is when the first bit of psychology comes into play. And we're going to talk about the word psychological safety. Psychological safety is when you can be your authentic self. You can have all your quirks, all your trauma, and not really worried about being judged for it or ridiculed or anything of that order. So in a psychological safe environment, you can pitch the crazy idea, you can admit you're terrified, and you can share a deep secret without being ridiculed for anything that you're saying. And at its best, the Misfit Crew is the ultimate model of psychological safety. Now think about it. These crews are almost entirely made up of people that the real world would kick around. They're freaks, they're criminals, they're failures, and the very things that made them outcasts in the real world are often their defining traits. And if not strengths, those same traits become their whole. This taps into the psychological concept that's sometimes called the shadow self. The shadow self are all traits that we have that we hide from the real world to fit in. Our defiance, our weirdness, our anger. Misfit crews are basically characters that are always living their shadow selves out in the open. And they're living it out loud, and we love them for it, and because they give us a safe, thrilling way to explore those hidden parts of ourselves. Now this brings me to my case study, my first case study in this video. And I'm going to bring up who I believe is the poster child of dysfunctional found family. And I'm talking about the Guardians of the Galaxy. If you've seen the movies, if you've read the books, if you've read the comic books, you know that the Guardians of the Galaxy, it's a series of characters that came together over a sequence of events, and they formed what I would call is very much stronger than your traditional family. They love each other, they're always there for each other, they would die for each other, they would live for each other, and they would never abandon each other. Every single character of the Guardians of the Galaxy is a profoundly damaged individual. They are defined by their trauma. Take Peter Quill, for example, aka Star-Lord. He's a profound case of arrested development, a complete man-child that masked the pain of his mother's death and his alien abduction with a shield of 80s pop culture and swagger. Fake swagger at that. He's a thief who's never had a real home. In any other story, he'd just be a lovable loser. But on this ship, his talent for making things up as he goes and his weird charisma definitely make him a leader. And he's a mess, sure, but he is their mess. Now take Gamora and Nebula. These are the daughters of the genocidal maniac Thanos. They were raised to be living weapons in a brutal, never-ending competition for Thanos' approval. They're assassins, and they're simmering with rage and pain. And on their own, they're forces of destruction, to be completely honest. But with the Guardians, they start to find a new use for their skills and a new purpose. Gamora especially, she finds a place where her deadly skills can be used to protect and not conquer. The crew doesn't necessarily erase her past, but they give her a shot at a different future, one where she can learn to trust and love. These are things that her biological family made impossible. Possibly the most potent example of this is Rocket and Groot. Rocket is a creature of trauma, genetically engineered and surgically mutilated until he became a monster. Or what he perceives as a monster and other people perceive. His anger, his cynicism, and his habit of stealing prosthetic limbs are all just armor against a universe that's only ever heard him. He's an outcast by his very design. Groot is his complete opposite, a gentle giant of immense power who is limited for the most part to 3 words: I am Groot. Together, they're a total anomaly. But on a ship, they're not just freaks, they're the tech experts and the heavy muscle. Rocket's paranoia gets channeled into tactical genius, and Groot's simple, unwavering loyalty becomes the heart of the team. The iconic moment in the first film where Groot wraps his friends in his branches and says, "We are Groot," is the perfect summary of the found family. The I of the lonely outcast is replaced by the we of the chosen family. Even Drax the Destroyer fits the mold. His entire life he's consumed with the murder of his family, and this has left him socially clueless, and he's even unable to grasp a metaphor. He's completely obsessed with revenge, and he is the definition of a social misfit. Instead of trying to fix him, they mostly stop making fun of his literalism and even try to speak his language. His inability to lie becomes the source of brutal, often hilarious honesty. He finds a new family to protect, basically, and in doing so, he even starts to heal. The appeal of the Guardians isn't just witty banter and cosmic explosions. It's watching these 5 broken, lonely people bicker, fight, and stumble their way into becoming a real family. They create a safe harbor for each other, a place where their deepest wounds and weirdest quirks are finally okay. This story is so powerful because it tells us that no matter how broken or different we feel, there is a place for us. It gives us hope to anyone who ever felt like an outsider, whispering that you don't need to change who you are to find your people, you just need to find the right people. Okay, so they find a family, right? And that's the heart of it. But the brain of the operation, and the second reason we love these stories, is watching that dysfunctional family actually get things done. They're a special kind of joy, and in seeing a group that should implode at any second, instead pull together and become a highly effective world-saving unit. This is our fascination with the competence emerging from total chaos. This taps into a core human need. According to self-determination theory, a major theory of human motivation, one of our deepest needs is to feel competent, the sense that we're capable and effective. Misfit crew stories are a masterclass in scratching that itch. We watch a collection of seemingly mismatched parts assemble themselves like a narrative jigsaw puzzle into a formidable whole. The key here is the complementary skill set. Unlike a SEAL team where everyone is an expert in the same areas, a misfit crew is defined by its radical differences. Each person brings a unique, often weird talent to the table, a talent that probably got them shunned by normal society. The thief's lockpicking skills, the nerd's obsessive knowledge of ancient history, the brute's raw strength, the pilot's reckless flying. All on their own, these skills are a niche at best, but together they create a versatile, unpredictable, and surprisingly successful team. This is even made better by something called the pratfall effect. Research shows that highly competent people actually become more likable after they make a mistake or show some vulnerability. A perfect, flawless hero can feel distant, but a hero who's a genius but also socially awkward, instantly relatable. Misfit crews are just a pratfall effect on a massive scale. They are collections of specialists who are also deeply flawed people. Their bickering and their personal screw-ups make their moments of collectible genius that much more satisfying. For the perfect case study in this, we have to look at the quintessential fantasy misfit crew, the Fellowship of the Ring. At the Council of Elrond, the formation of the Fellowship is an act of pure desperation. It's not a carefully chosen team at all, and it's born from argument, fueled by fear, and sealed by the impulsive loyalty of a few brave souls. And on the surface, the plan is an insane one. Sneak into the heart of the enemy territory with a team that's ridiculously ill-equipped. You've got 4 hobbits, little guys more interested in mushrooms than quests. You have 2 men, one a haunted ranger and the other a proud warrior, cracking under family pressure. And you have an elf and a dwarf from races that have hated each other for centuries, and a wizard who is anything but all-knowing, but definitely powerful. And yet this hodgepodge of group is perfectly, if accidentally, designed for the mission. The hobbits' perceived weakness is their greatest strength. Frodo is chosen to carry the ring precisely because hobbits are resilient and less tempted by power that has corrupted far greater beings. But Frodo would have failed in about 5 minutes without Samwise Gamgee, whose fierce loyalty and simple gardener's courage is the bedrock of the entire quest. Sam isn't a king, but his simple promise, "I am going to go with you," is the most important view that we have in the whole story. So now you have the big folk. There's Aragorn, the reluctant king, provides leadership, tracking skills, and raw fighting ability the hobbits lack. His journey from the grim ranger Strider to the confident king is one he could only make while protecting the Fellowship. He stands in contrast with Boromir, who represents the weakness of men, Boromir's fall to the ring's temptation makes the struggle feel real, but his final heroic defense of Merry and Pippin is a powerful redemption. And of course there's Legolas and Gimli. They start out as a cliche racial tension, right? Trading insults. Legolas, with his elven grace and deadly archery, is the group's scout. Gimli, with his dwarven toughness and mighty axe, is a frontline powerhouse. They are opposites in almost every way imaginable. But through shared danger, their rivalry blooms into one of the most celebrated friendships in fantasy. That still only counts as one dynamic is a microcosm of the Fellowship's purpose, proving that different people can unite against a common evil. And the genius of the Fellowship is how Tolkien made it clear that no single member could have succeeded alone. The mission needed the hobbit's humility, the men's leadership, the elf's sight, and the dwarf's endurance. When Gandalf falls, the team isn't destroyed. They are forced to rely on each other even more. This is the symphony of dysfunction at its best, a group of individuals who on their own are incomplete, but put together create a perfect harmony capable of facing down any amount of darkness. Speaking of partnerships, that Legolas and Gimli bromance is an all-timer. Every good misfit crew has those odd couple pairings that just kinda click, whether it's Han and Chewie, Rocket and Groot, or the entire cast of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So let me know in the comments who your favorite odd couple pairing from a misfit crew is and why they work so well together. And if you're enjoying this, consider liking the video and subscribing for more deep dives into the stories we all know and love. So what do you get when you have a found family of competent yet flawed weirdos? Well, you get the ultimate underdog story. This is the third and maybe most thrilling reason why we love these teams. We are hardwired to root for the little guy. But the story of David versus Goliath is one of the oldest and most compelling narratives for a reason. And misfit crews are the living embodiment of that underdog spirit. The psychology is pretty straightforward here. On one level, it's empathy. We see a group of clear disadvantaged, less power, fewer resources, and possible odds, and we feel for them. Their fight taps into our innate sense of fairness. We want to see the world where guts and determination matter more than a stacked deck. But on a deeper level, our love for the underdog is about identification. Most of us have felt like an underdog at some point, underestimated, overlooked, or outmatched. When we watch a crew of so-called losers take on the evil empire, we see a reflection of our own battles. Their win feels like our win. It's a vicarious triumph, a shot of hope that tells us that we too can beat the impossible odds. Misfit crews crank this up to 11 because they aren't just underdogs, they're rebels. They almost always operate on the fringes outside the established power structures. They are smugglers, they're pirates, they're revolutionaries who reject conformity and defy authority. This again appeals to that shadow self, the part of us that hates rules and longs for freedom. Watching these crews stick it to the man is a safe, deeply satisfying release for our own rebellious impulses. Now, they prove you don't need to be a part of the system to change the world, and sometimes you don't have to wrench the gears. And for the ultimate case study in underdog rebellion, we have to turn to the crew that defined the trope for the generation of sci-fi fans to come. And of course, I'm talking about the Serenity in the show Firefly. The Serenity crew are the dictionary definition of underdogs. They fought on the losing side of a galactic civil war against the all-powerful Alliance. Their leader, Captain Malcolm Reynolds, is a man whose faith was shattered in battle. He's cynical, sarcastic, and just plain tired. He's not trying to be a hero, he's just trying to keep flying. His goal is simple: find a job, get paid, and stay free. Simple, easy, and I love it. This reluctance makes him an incredible, relatable captain. He doesn't want the responsibility of saving anyone. which makes the moments he chooses to become a big damn hero all the more powerful. His crew is a perfect collection of fringe dwellers. Zoe, his loyal second in command, Wash, her goofball husband and the best pilot in the verse, Jane, a brutish mercenary whose loyalty usually has a price tag, Kaylee, a brilliant mechanic with a sunny disposition who sees the beauty in their breaking down ship, and Era, a high-class companion whose elegance clashes with the grimy reality of their lives, and Shepherd Book, a man whose faith was a suspiciously violent past. They aren't a military unit. They're a fragile ecosystem held together by malstubbornness in the hull of their ship. And then the ship itself, Serenity, is the ultimate underdog. She's an old, obsolete Firefly-class transport that's constantly breaking down. But to the crew, she's home. She's freedom. And she's the physical proof that they are still their own people in a galaxy trying to control them. And the rival of Simon and River, Tam turns to the crew from simple smugglers and unwilling rebels. Simon is a brilliant doctor who gave up a life of luxury to save his sister. River is a prodigy, giving them refuge. Mal puts a giant target on their backs. They're no longer just trying to survive. They're actively fighting for justice. The beauty of Firefly is that the crew's victories are almost always small. They pull off a heist, they deliver some medicine, they outsmart a local gangster, but in the context of their constant struggle, these small wins feel monumental. The climax of their story, the movie Serenity, sees them take the ultimate underdog risk, telling the galaxy the truth about a horrific crime the Alliance committed. They are outgunned, hunted, but they succeed through cleverness, sacrifice, and a sheer refusal to back down. They don't overthrow the Alliance, but they land a massive blow for the truth, though. It's a perfect underdog victory, a moral triumph that proves that even a little ship with misfit crew can change the verse. So from the cold vacuum of space to the magical forest of fantasy, the story of the misfit crew just works. It speaks to something deep in our psychology, and we see ourselves in their journey. We've seen how they create the psychological safety of a profound family, offering a place where outcasts can finally belong. Through the Guardians of the Galaxy, we saw how shared trauma can become a bond, how flaws aren't just accepted, but celebrated. They satisfy our deep need to belong, reminding us that home isn't just something you're born into, but something that you can actually build. We've explored the pure satisfaction of watching their complementary skill sets click into place, turning chaos into competence. The Fellowship of the Ring showed us how a group's true strength lies in its diversity, where every unique skill becomes essential for success. They fulfill our desire to see order emerge from chaos and to witness mastery in action. And we felt the vicarious thrill of their underdog story, cheering them on against impossible odds. The crew of the Serenity perfectly captured this rebellious spirit, reminding us of the power of the fighting, of what we're fighting for, and we're fighting for what's right, even if you've already lost the war. They make their triumphs feel like our triumphs. Ultimately, our love for the misfit crews come down to a fundamental human truth. Family isn't just about blood. It's about people who stand with you when the world turns its back. It's about the people who see you in all your flawed, quirky, damaged glory and say, yeah, you're one of us. These stories show us that heroes aren't perfect or privileged. Heroism belongs to anyone with the courage to fight for something, and the loyalty to fight alongside the family they forged in fire. They gave us hope that we, too, can find our crew, our ship, our fellowship. They tell us that no matter how much of a misfit that you are, you're not alone, and you can build your home in the universe. Now, I just want to thank you for exploring one of my all-time favorite tropes. This really is my favorite, and I love this trope for the stories that it gave us, like the Expanse or the Expeditionary Force. Those are the two that I'm reading right now that I'm currently enjoying. But if you enjoyed this, please hit like and subscribe, comment on the video, and I will respond to every single comment. Thank you very much. See you on the next one.